Okay, good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Depending on where you are joining us from, I hope you know exactly the reason why, the shenanigan that we saw today took place. I hope you can hear me. If you're watching on YouTube, if you can hear me, you can say hi. On Facebook, if you say hi or Judge Money blog, I will see you, not on other platforms. So, I am here to actually talk about today's judgment. The verdict issued by Judge Omotosho, who is a Yoruba man. A few days ago, Tinubu made mention that justice is not for sale in Nigeria. He made mention that justice, judiciary is not for sale in Nigeria. But we saw what happened today. Before this issue, before this, judgment was passed. Initially, I thought they will postpone it because I mistaken the date of closure of court with the date of the verdict. My apologies for that. But now the verdict has been given, which is what you are seeing here. Some of them that was read, and I discovered a lot of inconsistencies whilst they were reading the verdict, and I discovered as well things that the Nigeria youth are supposed to use against the government after the 2020 Lekki Tollgate massacre. Because they made mention what is against the law done at Lekki Tollgate on that night. Okay, because when they were reading the charges on terrorism, when they started actually reading, the constitutional guidance towards the charges on terrorism, you find out that everything the Nigerian government was reading was the same. In 2020, Lekki Tollgate massacre that was swept under the carpet, no one was held accountable because you guys are docile. People of Nigeria are docile. The only thing you guys are looking at right now is that I wish some of you, very few of you who are criminally minded are the ones wishing that Nnamdi Kanu is sentenced or given a death sentence. That is what many of them are believing today and are thinking today. And they are rejoicing. Once they heard a life sentence, they started rejoicing. But I can categorically tell you that police in Ekpebu. That's something we need to understand. We're going to read this thing here. We're going to read it. We're going to analyze these proceedings here so that we will understand exactly the problem within the Nigeria judicial system and Nigeria, system of government. Because Nigeria literally indicted itself on these things that they just showing us here. They indicted themselves, the government. But the problem we have is that the government of Nigeria are the only government in the world that cannot be taken to court and win them. They are the only government of the world that when it comes to ordinary person taking government to court, you will never win. And that is the reason why people have lost their right, even their right of self-defense embedded in Nigeria constitution, which many of the fallacies that they announced today, they read today, you could understand that the same constitution of Nigeria grant you a right of self-defense. At Lekki Tollgate massacre, people were actually unalive like animals. You saw military personnel. They were actually sporadically shoot facing the live, a gun with the live ammunitions against the protesters, innocent protesters. Those people were not criminals. Those people were not the terrorists. They were not inciting violence, just like they have charged Nnamdi Kanu, that Nnamdi Kanu was inciting violence on London and it was heard in Nigeria and carried out in Nigeria. What a law! What a law! This is exactly where the issue of jurisdiction comes up, because I can categorically tell you, and I can bet my life on it, that George Omotosho is an illiterate, and the law that he was reading in court today is Chatgpt law. Every law that they were reading today in the court is Chatgpt law. Chatgpt talks in line with Roman statutes. They don't actually address the constitution of a particular country. They give you Chatgpt usually give you, answers from the sources that are recognized around the world, comparing their laws to what is standard law. They cannot go deep and give you answers based on the constitution, but they will give you a general answer that governs mostly the big world, the United States. That is the reason why you kept hearing Federal Bureau of Investigation, you kept hearing United States law, because the Chatgpt they used to write the judgment that was passed today was always focusing on the central law, which is like America is seen as the biggest democracy in the world. America is seen as the people who rule the world. So everything revolves around America. Chatgpts, whatever they were giving to the judge, and the judge was reading, wobbling, and it shows you that he never wrote the law, he never wrote the judgment. Chatgpt wrote the judgment that was used to prosecute Nnamdi Kanu today. What a shame, Nigeria. What a shame. What a shame. Chatgpt judgment. Chatgpt could be good. It's very good with Chatgpt is very good when it comes to science and when it comes to science and scientific theories. Scientific theories, Chatgpt is very good with that. But when it comes to law, that's why Chatgpt will eventually tell you to get to a law practitioner, a legal practitioner. Chatgpt will guide you to a legal practitioner because it does not know the laws individually by nations. It recognizes the laws of Roman statutes, and it recognizes the law of the United States. Why would Judge Omotosho use Chatgpt to write the judgment that he passed in the court today? If you want to find out what I'm telling you, those of you who make use of Chatgpt, I want you to go to Chatgpt and ask Chatgpt. It's not a Nigeria law. Believe you me, what you are asking Chatgpt is not recognized in the Nigeria constitution. It is just borrowed. Nigeria just borrowed it from the United States because Chatgpt took them to United States. When you ask certain questions about this law, especially the law of extraordinary rendition, Chatgpt took them to United States, but Nigeria is not United States because United States is the biggest democracy and they understand human rights. And the judge there, the justice in the United States, they understand human rights, especially when it comes to their citizens, right? They understand the right of their citizens. So that is the reason why when you go into search engine, There is something called SEOs, search engine optimization. So when you key in any information on ChatGPT or any AI model, what they are going to do is to go to search engine optimization. Those ones, those answers that are basically popular, they will select them and they will pass it through to you. They are not going deep into your Nigeria laws or the previous judgment that was delivered in Nigeria, because justice is delivered recognizing the judgment that was delivered on the 20th of November. So in so date, justice was given on the basis of this person speaking in London, and it was heard in Nigeria. Judgment was passed in this way. So you can make mention of such, make a quote of such, as long as it is going to, support your defense. But we cannot say that in United States. We are not living in United States. Now Nigeria will tell you that they are, they tell us that they are a nation. They normally, when United States talked about the issue of particular concern, Nigeria, all of them, most of them jump out to say Nigeria is a sovereign nation. Nigeria is a sovereign nation. Why then is the sovereign nation borrowing law from the United States? Because Bureau of Investigation or FBI wrote the laws that makes you recognize what is terrorism act in your country. Let's agree that it makes sense, right? Now, why are we on the issue of extraordinary rendition referring to the America, to the United States? The United States pick a person from somewhere and brought them back to United States, and it was Chatgpt who gave that idea. Because, of course, it will tell you that the issue of rendition or extraordinary rendition might not negate the existing charges that is leveled on the person, on the individual, because this is American case law. Now, when it comes to issue of America case law, you find out that America have a certain standard that they have to meet to favor their citizens, especially to favor human rights, because human rights organizations are active working. As long as it doesn't occur, it's not about science or things that looks like conspiracy theories. When it looks like, sounds to the world like conspiracy theory, I'm not saying their justice system is perfect, but I'm telling you the reason why ChatGPT is always will pick on them in order to give you answer when it comes to justice or when it comes to legal, research, because they know that they will rank American justice system as the best in the world, because America always hype themselves to tell you they are the best in the world. And they are the best in the world. Is there anyone who is the best more than them today? No, they are. That's why a lot of politicians have homes there. All of Nigeria politicians have a house in the United States. Their children are living 5-star lives in the United States, but they don't want your eyes to open. They don't ever want you to see the light. Judge Omotosho used ChatGPT to jail Nnamdi Kanu. When Nnamdi Kanu said he does not know law, he was not bluffing. The dude does not know law. The dude does not know law. Issue of extraordinary rendition is violation of human rights, and you cannot violate human rights. Come back and say that we want the rule of law to be upheld. You cannot be a violator of rule of law and you are coming back to be upholder of the rule of law. No, it is impossible. Two wrongs can never make it right. As long as there is issue of extraordinary rendition, It is a very big case in every country of the world, except if you, as an accused, does not recognize that fact that there might be error in a way that you were, rendition to this country. If you have a good lawyer in every country of the world, extraordinary rendition is an act of terrorism. Except if you don't have a lawyer. America can go pick you up in Nigeria without any formal rendition process, protocols. But if you have a good lawyer that will stand for you in the United States, you will find out that that issue of extraordinary rendition will eventually, put America in the tight corner. It's all about having a good lawyer, man. But in Nigeria, it does not matter whether you have a lawyer or whether you are defending yourself, because they always have a premeditated mindset that they are going to jail this person. It is not ever in the line with the proceedings of the law. Judicial system is now giving jungle justice. That is the reason why you see them issuing jungle justice on Nnamdi Kanu, wishing that Nnamdi Kanu get that sentence, because they are all group of criminals who are in different positions in Nigeria. All of them you see today in different positions of politics in Nigeria. They are all gangs of thieves. Look at your military. Those are people's father, people's children, people's uncle. They send the military and they will now leak the secret of the military because they don't want the same military to unalive terrorists, but they are now reading Terrorism Act and comparing American system of law with Nigeria system of law. At least if they were doing it with Roman statutes, we are going to be pleased. But Chatgpt, which they use, took them to American system of law. That's why the person is a magistrate or omotosho that could not read. He couldn't read the judgment that was supposed to be, written by him. He could not read it because it wasn't him that write those laws, those judgments. Those judgments was just configured by Chatgpt. That's why he could not read it. And then they think that after basically giving Nnamdi Kanu life imprisonment, it is going to make people like us who have woken up to the fact that Nigeria is a terrorist state. Canada named you. I am not the one. Canada named you. The United States named you a country of particular concern. I am not the one. Right? But you will now see this guy as the bad guy, another terrorist, because he calls us a terrorist state. It was Canada that named Nigeria a terrorist country, led by APC. No nation in the world named IPOB a terrorist, right? Is there any nation in the world that saw IPOB to be a terrorist? No nation, not even Canada. They are active there. They are active everywhere. No nation saw them as a terrorist. Only Zoo that saw IPOB as a terrorist. Only Zoo saw IPOB as a terrorist. Do you know why? They saw you as a terrorist because you are the one who is anti-terrorist. Because you devised a plan to make sure that terrorists does not come into Biafra land, and you disrupted the jihad that was going on in Nigeria. Nnamdi Kanu stalled the jihad that they have planned with Muslim ticket. He stalled it. He never averted it, right? He didn't avert it. He stalled it. Now it is in your hand to avert the jihad. If you continue to say, hey, it's Nnamdi Kanu, I told you he will go to jail. I told you I did not tell you he will go to jail. Keep on keeping on. Terrorists will take your home. And there is nothing this old man, Muslim ticket, is going to do against their Muslim brother who is actually, walking in line with their Quran that says in Quran 2 verse 190, the only time you will stop unaliving them is when they surrender and become an Islam. Otherwise, you charge them tax. If they cannot pay the tax, you have to unalive them. They are carrying out the activities of Quran. So why do you think a Muslim ticket, when Shetima is involved in the Muslim ticket, that Shetima is going to rise up and say, let us unalive terrorists? No, when you send people to the bush, military to the bush, they will now use the terrorists that is already in the military to sell the ones out, and they will be ambushed. And when we call for America to come and secure the life of Christians in Nigeria, people are saying we are going to burn the nation. Let the nation burn, man. Because if you look at it now, you will see that the nation is already fucked up. Like, seriously. If we are looking at Nigeria today, Nigeria that our army commander was killed like a chicken. Jesus Christ. Army commander killed like a chicken. But army will come to the road and be intimidating ordinary civilian just because he said to you, he talked to you and you responded. Because he's your father. You're not supposed to respond to him just because he's in a military uniform. Militaries are not supposed to be seen with a gun on the street because there is no war. It's only during the time of state of emergency or declaration or disaster declaration that you're supposed to see military on the street with big guns and intimidating people. Nigerian military are very strong when it comes to civilians who are unarmed. They are very strong at intimidating them. They are very strong at, pushing them to the wall. They are very strong as unaliving them, but they are not strong when it comes to unaliving terrorists. Do you know why? Because now when they go to unalive terrorists, the same soldiers, remember that it was found under the emblem of Uthman Dan Fodio. Uthman Dan Fodio is the one who started jihad in Nigeria, and unfortunately he couldn't achieve it before the arrival of Britain. They now had a arrangement with Britain that Britain will get their own court after colonization of Nigeria, and the rest will be in the hands of these Fulanese. At the end of the day, that's what is going on. That's why you see Gumi. Gumi is all over the place defending terrorists in blood daylight, telling you that terrorists are raising money. That's why they are doing kidnapping and all that. They are raising money. That's what Gumi told you. That if there is a pipeline in the terrorist area, they will bump it. He didn't call them terrorists, sorry. He called them bandits. Because they are not seen as terrorists. How can a terrorist government name himself? So the reason why they refuse to name those terrorists, Boko Haram, who disguised and came into the bush, local bushes, as a bandit, they refuse to name them terrorists. So that when they get them, they will give them military uniform, police uniform, army uniform, civil defense uniform. They will just integrate them into security. The reason is that so that they will help to protect their people in the bush. You see what Fulanis are doing, what they did in Kogi State. Fulanis are going into communities. They will unalive you until you submit. Put them in your leadership role. The next thing now you will find Emir in Kogi State. The stupid governor in Kogi State is putting Fulanis into positions of traditional rulership. From there now, Emir of Fulani will come into Kogi State and people of Kogi State will be answering Kogi Fulani or even Hausa Fulani. They are good in answering that. You saw them challenging people in Yoruba land, even speaking Yoruba, Hausa Fulani, speaking Yoruba. You find out that these guys are everywhere. Your problem as a Yoruba man is in Nnamdi Kanu. Well done. You have jailed Nnamdi Kanu. Well done. Your problem is solved, Nigeria. Your problem is solved. Now let's get back to it. Let's listen to the terrorism stuff that these people made mention before we proceed to analyzing it. I want to make use of this one, not this. I will come back to this. Let's make use of this one. I never knew that Nigeria knows what
motivated and pedestrian organized violence.
Now let's do this.
innocent people are targeted or ideology.
They will be given amnesty.
Fears intended to quash or to intimidate governments or society in pursuit of goals that are generally political, religious, or ideological.
Damn.
Terrorism constitutes the illegitimate use of force to achieve a political objective when innocent people are targeted. Terrorism is defined here as the fight for, who he claim he fight for.
Okay, my apologies. My computer, I forgot to plug it, so it went off. So at least I'm glad we are back. My apologies for that distraction. We're going back to it on the issue where they were reading about terrorism. Let us find a way to, talk to it so that we will understand exactly what I was talking about by Chatgpt, judgment that was used to jail Nnamdi Kanu. Now listen. I hope we are coming out clear. Yeah, we are, even though we have a lot of
Religious
delay.
or ideology. ideological. Terrorism constitutes the illegitimate use of force to achieve a political objective when innocent people are targeted. Terrorism is defined here as the current use or threatened use of political motivated and clandestine organized violence by a group which aim is to influence a psychological target in order to make it behave in a way which the group desires. See judgemet drag. The unlawful use of force or violence against persons.
Unlawful use of force or violence against forces, that is exactly what they named terrorism. Unlawful use of force or violence against forces. Okay, this issue of terrorism is not only on ordinary citizen, it is also applicable to the government. Unlawful use of force, right? The same unlawful use of force. So there is a terrorist government who shot people at Lekki toll gate and then denied it and swept it under the carpet because it is unlawful use of force. Unlawful. He never say, because if we talk law, we talk to law, not a law that covers people individually or differently. A law that covers everybody. That's why everybody should be seen equal in the eyes of the law, because that's the law we are talking about. Are we still coming out clear? If you are writing on YouTube, can you please let me know, because I can't see the Facebook. If we are coming out clear, kindly do so. Kindly do so, because I don't want to be talking to myself on several occasions, because I can't see whether we are on Facebook again. Okay, I think we are back on Facebook, but let's hear the voice. So, like I was saying, all right, correct, we are. So, unlawful use of force, everything called law is applicable to the president. It's applicable to everybody that is a human in the country. So unlawful use of force falls under Terrorism Act. Now, the government has been using unlawfully, a forceful way to quell protest. So who is the terrorist? The government. The government teaches terrorism and they now begin to see themselves as untouchable. Nigeria government is untouchable. The law is not applicable to Nigeria politicians. That's exactly what we are reading, because if the law is applicable to the Nigeria politicians, they will not behave the way they behave. They rig election without even any iota of, guilt, feeling any guilt. They do crime with impunity, money laundering, stealing state coffers, looting the country, sponsoring of terrorism, selling of mineral resources in a black market. They do all that. They are untouchable. That's why your vice president, terrorist, was found in his home and he was not indicted. Instead, he was rewarded with a vice president position. Can you imagine that? When America say they are coming to flush them, the criminals out, they will say that we are going to unite and fight America. You and your papa will unite and fight America, because as you people are dining with terrorists, collecting money and doing everything you are doing, you didn't remember ordinary people to call them to join with you to fight for America. I pity all these fools that are calling themselves Nigerians, patriotic Nigerians. You are patriotic to Fulani jihadists. You are patriotic to Fulani jihad country. That's what you are patriotic to. You're not patriotic to Nigeria because you are them selfish. Just because the government give you small contract or small money to come and be patriotic in Facebook or in Twitter. That is the only place you guys are patriotic. When it comes to the things that patriotic Nigerian does to make sure that the country's law is upheld, to make sure that everything that is in the country or everyone is equal before the law, that is what patriotic people does. Not because you come to lie to the world. There is no Christian genocide, therefore I am patriotic. Patriotic my food. That is not being patriotic. That is being a liar. Let's continue to listen to the issue of terrorism, because Nigeria is indicting themselves here.
Or properties to intimidate or coerce governments, the civilian populations, or any segment thereof in furtherance of political or social objective is derived from Federal Bureau of Investigations.
Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, is derived from Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI. This is what they are reading, Chatgpt law. In Nigeria, constitution is where they are supposed to focus on what they called Terrorism Act. They're not supposed to borrow from the United States. United States is the United States. Nigeria is Nigeria. Nigeria have Sharia law in their constitution. United States does not have Sharia law in their constitution. Why are we borrowing law from the United States? Why do we need to learn what terrorism is from the United States Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI? Why aren't we checking it in the constitution? Do you see the reason why Nnamdi Kanu told them that you don't know law? If you say I have committed this crime, show me where it is in your law. Because if it is not written law, you cannot use it to, jail, sentence somebody. Where is the written law? Where is the written law? It is not written that when you extraordinary rendition somebody and the court recognize that there is issue of extraordinary rendition, not only issue of extraordinary rendition, there is issue of jurisdiction. Because you cannot speak in the United States or in London and someone is using it against you in Nigeria because I'm going to steal you from where you went to from London to use it against you. That is Catriona Lang is one of the masterminds that is making sure that Nnamdi Kanu is jailed because they want to continue to steal the resources of Nigeria for free. Britain want to continuously stealing the resources of Nigeria using jihad that they promise, because that is the mandate they have given to jihad. Uthman and Fodio, that is the mandate they gave to them. We don't have a problem. We will give you this jihad. You will take over this country as long as we get what we want. We don't have a problem. Neo-colonialism. Why do you think Charles Wilson joined Nigeria, joined Gowon, naive young man, joined him to destroy Nigeria, to unalive more than 3 million Biafrans? Why do you think so? Because they want the oil that is coming out of Biafra land. The reason why Britain did not actually issue consulate support to Nnamdi Kanu is because Britain is complicit in this case. Britain knows that Nnamdi Kanu speaks to the problem of them actually, ripping Nigeria off through neo-colonial means. That's why Britain did not issue any solidarity with their citizen Nnamdi Kanu, because they know what they are benefiting. They know what they are benefiting. And you can never change that. The fact that we saw Prince of Duke, the Duke of Scotland was in Nigeria a few days ago. Duke of Scotland was in Nigeria a few days ago. I didn't follow it up to know what they came to do, but it is actually unusual to 2 days after the Duke of Scotland came, Nnamdi Kanu was jailed. And now, after that, we found out that the case or the judgment passed by the Judge Omotosho was written by ChatGPT and not written by omotosho, and ChatGPT correct grammatic error. No, ChatGPT was not correcting his grammatical error. ChatGPT wrote that thing and he never even went through it. That is how much a black man trusts what is created by a white man. That is how much a black man trusts what is created by a white man. Now, let me tell you why. If it was not ChatGPT, there is no way this man would be waffling and wobbling in reading what he wrote. You cannot waffle or wobble in what you wrote by yourself because every passage is in your head. Because it was not written by him. It was written by ChatGPT and he never cared to double check. Otherwise, he made ChatGPT read it out for him without him looking at the paragraph by himself. That's why he was unable to read, because it is not the line of his intelligence that actually wrote that. And we are not questioning a judge, certified judge or magistrate reading in that manner. Have you not asked yourself, certified judge or magistrate reading in that manner? I know there are people who struggle to read naturally, but not a judge. Because before you become a judge, you must have been a lawyer. And you must have represented people in the court of law. So you must be outspoken and you must be eloquent for you to compete in the court of law. A judge or magistrate could not read what they wrote to show that it is valid for me to say that they did not write the judgment. They'll actually ask, hey, ChatGPT, Nnamdi Kanu is a criminal. He made a broadcast in London and we heard it in Nigeria and people, unalive people. And ChatGPT, please, can you please write me a judgment that will match, that will be suitable for this person. And then this man is they will add, this man is a very terrible criminal. So, so write me a judgment that will be befitting his act because he kills at will. So ChatGPT will write that judgment and pass it through to you. And ChatGPT, don't forget to recognize Nigeria's constitution. Make references of Nigeria constitution. And after that, ChatGPT, now you say read. That ChatGPT read it to you, right? After reading it to you, you didn't care to check the paragraph. That's why he was waffling, reading the law that is presumed to be written by him. That is only how you will understand it. But it might not make sense to Umokoko, because the only word we understand is go, come, take money, speak for Nigeria. Now let's continue to listen to Terrorism Act.
What therefore, unquote, what therefore constitutes a terrorist act from all the definition above is an act of violence, threat of violence intended to cause fear,
bodily harm,
the recipients of such violence or threat in a state of fear. Applying the above definition to the facts of this case, the defendants in several of these broadcasts made several threatening harms to the federal government of Nigeria, the general Nigerian populace, including its own people.
What there is no coherent in what this guy is doing here. Can you even understand most of the things that this guy is reading? Because he's waffling, because he never wrote the law, he never wrote the judgment, he never wrote it. I'm not lying when I say he never wrote it. This person is not qualified to sit in the court. They just brought Isia Kwong. They just know they brought Isia Kwong. Chief Judge gave them Isia Kwong, the one that they use anyhow. They know that he never qualified to be a lawyer. He was just through connection. He became a lawyer. Whoever that is reading this is an illiterate. He is not qualified to be in law court. You can hear it from him. He never wrote it. He cannot write judgment. Hi. And we are part of this country called Nigeria, where all men are not seen equal in the eyes of the judicial system or in the eyes of the law. And we are part of this country. God forbid. God forbid. God forbid. Let's continue.
People who claim to fight for, who he claim he fight for. In an interview with Sahara reporter, in an interview with Sahara TV, contained in Exhibit PWW, the defendant was interviewed by one Rodolphe Okonkwo. He was introduced as the founder and director of Radio Biafra. When the defendant appeared on the screen, his nameplate was Nnamdi Kanu, Director Radio Biafra. While speaking on the national conference in Nigeria, which was organized at that time, the defendant mentioned the name of some of the representatives from the Southeast as the conference, and he said, if you go there and negotiate any other thing apart from Biafra, you better not come back, because our people will be waiting for you, that very person, unquote. When he was asked about the consequence for this representative, including one Ike Nwanchuku, defendant was unequivocal when he said, things have changed, and that because the only language that people in the zoo understand is language of violence and force.
But think about it. The only language that people of Nigeria understand is the language of violence and force. If not that Donald Trump spoke about using violence to extinguish Boko Haram and Fulani herders that are killing Christians in Nigeria, do you think that you will see Tinubu canceling his trip to go for G20 meeting in South Africa and Angola? Do you think it will ever happen? The only language they understand is violent. That is the reason why, for the first time, he abandoned going to G20 meeting. He decided to cancel his trip so that he will get a report on what terrorists is doing in Nigeria. Right? Have you ever seen that happen? A president leave traveling overseas, abroad, to come and check who is dying and who is not. It is because of the threat of force by Donald Trump to remove their jihad from the bush. So they have to now act like they are working when they are not working. They are not fighting any terrorists. They are just sending military to go and be collateral damage. They use the militaries as the collateral damage. That's what they are using them to do. But Nigerian military is indeed strong ground force. But when they are being set up, they are useless. Because they are found with the ideology of Uthman Dan Fodio. That's where Nigerian military was born. Therefore, you trying to use Nigerian military to fight jihadist movement, jihad is already in the Nigerian military. Why do you think you are going to use the same Nigerian military to fight jihad ideology? The only language they understand is when you speak force to them. That's why they are acting like they care. But people are dying. Tomorrow they will tell you that it wasn't Nnamdi Kanu who is dividing Nigeria. But people are dying in the north. As if it is chicken dying. Every day we see people roll up in the mat and mass burial. Thanks to the people that are not called terrorists, they are called bandits. Because they are not from Igbo extraction. Nnamdi Kanu did not actually do anything. And Nnamdi Kanu was just speaking on radio. Nnamdi Kanu was speaking on radio. Therefore, that is exactly where we continue to ask, does Nigeria have jurisdiction to try Nnamdi Kanu, who was speaking in London? Does Nigeria have that jurisdiction? Where does Nigeria law states that they have jurisdiction to go and do the justice for UK or London? Because London is supposed to do that justice if Nnamdi Kanu was out of line. It was not Nigeria. He was speaking in London. They do not have that jurisdiction. Extraordinary rendition. You are claiming that there is no did they say sufficient, or I don't know. I can't remember whether they used the word sufficient evidence to show that there was extraordinary rendition. Kenya court ruled that the transfer of Nnamdi Kanu is illegal. What other evidence are you looking for? If you want to ascertain more evidence, you go to Kenya court to court. That is the process that a law court should go to make sure that there is a fair hearing. When we talk about fair hearing in the Nigeria Constitution, section 35 or within 35, 36 of Nigeria Constitution, or 37, talks about fair hearing. That fair hearing is what court can go extra mile to make sure that there is a fair hearing. But did they go through that mile? Because they don't care about your human right. The only thing they care about is that, government, how much are you giving me? I will just jail this man. After all we are working for is money. The future is bright, is money. We're not working for any position in the global stage. We are working for money. Meanwhile, I'm illiterate. I cannot even read my judgment eloquently. So there is nothing I can get in the international stage. How can I represent people when I cannot read my judgment eloquently? So I can collect the money. Just give me the bag. I will jail this man. I will jail him and make him feel like I did him a favor by not giving him that sentence. Because that's what they did. Let's continue to listen.
After all, that very contraction was put together by Frederick Lugard.
Is it a lie?
That is
it a lie that the contraption was put together by Frederick Lugard? That is your history. Does it mean that George Omotosho, my lord, you don't know history? It was put together by Frederick Lord Lugard and Flora Shaw in the year 1914. That's where this geopolitical expression or geographic expression was created more than 110 years ago. That is the same ideology we are living, including you, my lord. Leonard, my lord, you are living under a dead man ideology. You never woke up to say, it is time for us to change the ideology. It is time for us to change Victoria Island to maybe Tinubu Island. You never said so, lawyer, a judge. When a man who recognized the exploitation in the system rose up to demand peacefully what was rightfully his and his people, because everybody have a shareholding in that Nigeria. Whether it is a contraption, whether it is called a zoo, everyone have their own shareholding percentage equally. And it is all handed over to Tinubu. No one handed him over. He forced himself on it to manage it. So I have the right to rise up and tell Tinubu, you are a criminal. You have embezzled my own right and now deprive me of traveling on a good road. Deprive me of enjoying, a good road, adventurous travels that you make from Lagos to places to places. Now I have to fly. Each and every time I want to go, I have to fly. Promoting flights and demoting road transportation. That is in the 21st century, 2025. We still see these things happening in Nigeria. And then my own share of my own, investment in Nigeria. You deprive me of my share. You deprive me of good road. You deprive me of hospital. You deprive me of justice. How can you deprive me of all that at the same time, yet you say that Nigeria is not a contraption? You say it is not a zoo. Because if it is a country, it's supposed to recognize its territorial integrity, that Britain is not supposed to determine or influence decisions made in that country. External bodies are not supposed to exploit the country in order to take away my own share of the national cake. Because I gave it to you, Tinubu. Even if you took it by force, it is still mine because you ain't gonna be there forever. So I have the right to question you regardless of your age. So we don't need to use age manipulation to make people to stop asking for what is rightfully theirs. What is our right is the right to life. Right to life. Right to fair hearing, right to education. That is our fundamental right, human right. Right to freedom of speech, right to freedom of peaceful gathering, but people gather in the name of peaceful gathering. You sporadically, you unalive them as APC-led government, and no one is brought to question about it. Everyone acted like they used Lai Mohammed to lie, to say that there was no such. And everybody believed it. And we are saying that it is, when Nnamdi Kanu called it a contraption, it becomes a problem. How can it be a problem when he called it a contraption? Because you are then behaving like contraption. You are behaving like zoo. Because you integrate terrorists who unalive soldiers into the same soldiers, into the same military apparatus, and you expect to defeat terrorists. Is that not a zoo? Is it not a zoo? What do you want? What adjectival phrase am I supposed to use to qualify or quantify what I am seeing in Nigeria, that you are going to blame me about it? Fulanis, they are minority ethnic group that came from Futajalon and invaded Hausa land, used their number to keep on manipulating the voting system. And now Fulani is the same people who put Tinubu in position of power. Fulani is the same people. Miyetti Allah is the people who push for the jailing of Nnamdi Kanu. Miyetti Allah. But the problem we have is the criminals that we call governors and representatives that we have in the eastern region. Because those people, you see, like I said, you cannot educate me on how to fight for what is rightfully mine, right? As long as you wouldn't tell me I'm violating your law. You are a criminal. Governor, all of you are criminals. And it is within my right to call you criminals. You know why? Because you are made a governor to make sure that there is a security, to make sure there is a security that protects the life and properties in your state. to make sure that everybody is equal in the eyes of the law, to make sure you eliminate inequality, because you want to make people have this sense of belonging where they come from. You are made a governor to make sure that our essential amenities are put in place, that we don't need to lack any of it. But you are not doing it. Where the hell is the money going? And am I going to tell you, clap for you? No, you are not a criminal. You are a thief, a criminal. All your children are in abroad with my money. My money and the money belonging to all Nigerians. Your children are living 5-star lives in the United States, in Britain, living 5-star life. You just recently they stopped showing themselves off because we are talking. They are doing it. When it comes to us, they are also protesting in those free world where they are. They protest. No one is shooting at your children. No one shoots at them when they protest. But you are shooting at us when we protest. Why do you think we cannot think about making a mortar bomb to defend ourselves? Let us continue so that they will say it themselves.
What many people don't understand. Lugard killed many people to put Nigeria together, and the killing of people to disintegrate the zoo shouldn't come to anybody as a surprise. Our promise is very simple. If they fail to give us Biafra, Somalia will look like a paradise compared to what will happen to the zoo.
But it is not averted. Is it averted? These people are delusional. Jesus Christ. These people are delusional. Do you think reciting what Nnamdi Kanu said that Somalia will be better than Nigeria, or jailing Nnamdi Kanu averts his prophecy? He never promised to do it. He said that Somalia will be better than Nigeria. Okay, let's eventually say Boko Haram is overrunning Nigeria. ISWAP is overrunning Nigeria. Nnamdi Kanu has no hand in it. Nnamdi Kanu is not part of that bullshit shenanigan, unaliving people, killing of Christians. But he told you that they are coming. If you don't give us Biafra, because he knows that if you give us Biafra, Yoruba people will secure their own place. Hausa people will eventually wake up from their slumber and protect themselves. Jihad is averted. And now, because of your narrow-minded way of thinking, that is not law. It is your prejudice that you are using to judge Nnamdi Kanu. That is not law. It is not law. You just prejudiced against him. That's why you are quoting that he said Somalia will be better than Nigeria, when Boko Haram is making Nigeria Somalia already. It is not a problem that Boko Haram is foot soldiers fulfilling the prophecy of Nnamdi Kanu. Nnamdi Kanu, who is the prophecy, the person who prophesies about what is going on today, is now being sentenced. Boko Harams are given military uniform and told where military are going, they will ambush them. Did you see the privileges you are giving to Boko Haram? Have you ever given such privileges to ordinary people? No. Good citizen? No. Rather, military will beat them blue-black just because they were wearing military camouflage, just because they responded to military. Military will beat them blue-black, even shoot them. Police will kill you just because you refuse to give him 15 naira. Exactly. But terrorist, he's given opportunity to be a Nigeria president. That's what this police officer was telling terrorists 2 days ago. He said to terrorists, you guys will have opportunity to be president in this country if you surrender your weapon. And it is not a joke, because we might think it's just a joke. It's not a joke. People you give military uniform, integrate them into the army, and then you are coming back to go and use them to fight their brothers whom they pray with the same Quran. You are delulu. These people are delusional. You people will push people to the wall to that point of calling you guys names, because you guys are very, very delusional. Listen to what police is saying to a terrorist as we proceed. Listen.
Their arms unconditionally and be accepted in the community. Opportunities are out there for them. They can be rehabilitated. An ex-Boko Haram stands having laid his arms and comes back, turns his way away from his negativity. He stands to be a president of this country. He stands to aspire any position in this country. Why is he wasting his time when he cannot even deliver?
Did you hear that? Did you see? It is not a joke. The fact that you see it announcing, some of you who overthink it, or some of you who think you are Cambridge smart, who say it's a decoy. It's not a decoy, fuck it. It is real. It is real. Shetima, Boko Haram, the deadliest terrorists who do bombs, who bomb places in Abuja even, was found in his house. What was his reward? His reward is vice president and waiting to be a president. Do you think this guy is bluffing? It's not bluffing. Jihad is real. Jihad is real. The Nigeria Muslim ticket and the Nigeria in general are just negotiating. How can we do it so that the world will not notice more? But the radicality, the rascality and radicality in the Boko Haram, they are not listening. They want it as quick as possible. Remember, these people are just uneducated. They have waited for so many years, so they cannot wait. They can't wait no more. That's why they are doing what they are doing. Right? Now let's continue reading terrorism.
It is a promise. It is a pledge. Also a threat to them. They must understand it, that we have had enough of this nonsense. Unquote. It is not noteworthy that defendants in the said interview kept referring to the southeastern part of Nigeria as Biafra. The defendants made some comments, such as the governor of the southeastern states being the stooge of Hausa Fulani godfathers. He even stated that Rochas Okocha, former governor of Imo, had criminalized the entire state to satisfy his Hausa Fulani godfather.
To show you that it is the Miyetti Allah who is jailing this man, because they are the ones who control Nigeria and they are the ones who want jihadism in Nigeria. It is them that is passing this judgment, That's why they continue to say Hausa Fulani. What is it? If I say my governor is a stooge to a particular person, if the governor is angry about it, the governor takes me to court. Not another person. The governor must appear in court to say that I said. If the governor failed to appear to defend that you claim I said against him, the case is annulled. Because the accuser and the accused will be there. Accuser will confirm, you said this, yes, you said it, this is what you said it, and I want to proceed with the case. Once the accuser is not in court, professing their desire to follow the case to end, the case is annulled. So there is no reporter. So, in this regard, you are making mention of Rochas or Kolosha. Is there any case that is presented by Rochas or Korocha against Nnamdi Kanu that you are reading and making reference to what he said to Rochas or Korocha? Are you seeing how Nigeria judiciary is making self alive, a laughing stock? A laughing stock. Rochas or Kolocha, waiting concern Rochas or Kolocha concern these things that we are talking about, that they are talking about. Judgment. Rochas or Kolocha is not part of the case, or is he? And we are not being told about it. Except if Rochas or Kolocha is part of the case, that his name is mentioned in a judgment, that does not concern him. And you cannot tell me you are making reference with Rochas or Kolocha when he is not part of the, he is not part of the, legal proceeding against Nnamdi Kanu. Does it make sense? No, it doesn't.
During the interview, defendants, while answering a question about whether he will embrace a peace separation or choose a violent path, stated at...
Don't forget, it is still Chatgpt written law. They didn't write it. That's why they can't read it. I never knew that Nigeria knows.
Yes, I think this is finished. This is where I was able to cut it so that we will reach. It will be uploadable. So let's listen to this one. Another one. Finalize it. I can't.
Is charged with the offense of making a broadcast received and heard in Nigeria within the jurisdiction of this court, in furtherance of an act of terrorism against the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the people of Nigeria, in which is directed members of the indigenous peoples of Biafra, a proscribed organization, to manufacture bombs, thereby committing an offense punishable under Section 1(2)(f) of the Terrorism Prevention Amendment Act 2013. Section 1(2)(f) of the Terrorism Prevention Act 2013 provides: 2. A person or body corporate who knowingly in or outside Nigeria, directly or indirectly, willingly, assists, facilitates, organizes, or directs the activities of person, organization.
Willingly assist, facilitate a judge. Let's read it. Let's go back to that place again. This is his written laws or his written judgment. So he's not supposed to be waffling here.
Assists, facilitates, organizes, or directs the activities of person, organization engaged in any act of terrorism. The ingredients of the offense expected to be established are: 1. The defendant must be a person or body corporate. 2. The defendant must have assisted, facilitated, organized, or directed the activities of person or organization engaged in terrorist activities. 3. The defendant must have willingly assisted, facilitated, organized, or directed the activities of persons, organizations engaged in terrorist acts. The defendants herein have been established to be a human being. As to the second and third ingredient, the prosecution has led evidence to show that the defendant has directed members of the terrorist organization to build bombs, other explosives, in order to attack security operatives. Indeed, in furtherance of its terrorist actions and following the incitement of persons to kill defendant security operative, the defendant also directed his members to build explosive devices, particularly motorford cocktail. At about 1 hour, 30 minutes, 36 seconds of the broadcast of 20th October 2020, as contained in Exhibit PWW, the defendant, while responding to a caller about NSAS protest, stated, and I quote, "Now, this night, I want graduates to go to work, graduates of chemical engineering, those who were born as engineers, manufacture any ordnance you can, because they are coming to kill you anyway, regardless of what you do. Go and manufacture any ordnance. I am calling on the youth in the Middle Belt, and I want any bridge that they can use to reinforce to be destroyed. They are going to come from the Middle Belt. This night, we have engineers everywhere, people who are intelligent. Go back now. and give us your own version of omotosho. We must destroy them before they destroy us. Every youth.
We must destroy them before they destroy us. That sounds like a self-defense. That sounds like self-defense to me, right? Right? Does Nigeria law not support self-defense? Does Nigeria law not support self-defense? It does. So before they destroy us, it is not a threat. It is self-defense. So this has no basis in the courtroom. He said. That is saying, not doing. He said. What the hell is it the reason why Nnamdi Kanu is given life imprisonment, if I may ask? Just because he said. In UK, in London. If you look carefully, they don't even know where he said. That's where the issue of jurisdiction, because a competent, unbiased judge will ask you, you claim he said. Where did he say it? Do you have any proof where he said it? No, you are just hearing a voice. A voice could be AI. There is a lot of AI today, right? Is it only politicians that defend themselves and say, no, it's AI? There are a lot of AI who could say, I could create an AI voice now that will sound like Nnamdi Kanu. Does it mean it's him? The same AI voice they use to transcribe dead Buhari's voice, that same AI, it is in existence. So because of there is existence of AIs, so people need to say, where did he say it? Evidence need to back it up. Which country? When did he say it? Did you go to investigate in that country? Did you have any findings from anywhere with regards to your claims that he said, or you are charging this man on the basis that you heard a radio and he determined that he said? That's why there was no case submission. Because there is no case, no prima facie. What we hear is that Nigeria entertain cases that they do not have jurisdiction over to entertain. Now, let's assume that Chatgpt gave Judge Omotosho a clue that in the US, they could go and rendition somebody from so place, and the court still charge them with the same, the existing, charges that is leveled against him. It is because those people who were presiding over such case, they don't know law and they're not using a good recognized lawyer. Because when it comes to issue of jurisdiction, especially in those, judicial system, and meanwhile, America can do what they want because they are the world power. Nigeria, if you want to start doing what you want, you need to be world power first. And you have what America does not have. That's supposed to make you world power. If the ideology of Flora Shaw and Lord Lugard was to make you a progressive nation, you should be able to, be the world power. But you cannot, because you have, branded, backward people who comes in front and leading the people who can see. Blind people leading people who can see. So you cannot behave like a United States because their judicial system is seen as the best in the world. So you cannot use judicial system the way the best in the world who recognize human rights, right? Even if it is not the best in the world, it is seen. Chatgpt will see it also as the best in the world. That's why they make mention of Bureau of Investigation and the courts, case law in the United States.
Tonight, anybody with a police uniform, anywhere, especially in Aba in Lagos, once you have police uniform or any army uniform, that person is your enemy. Attack them, because if you don't, they will kill you. If you are a graduate of physics or chemistry, no sleep for you tonight. Go and manufacture something to destroy the police and every army police position starting from this night. Unquote. During the said broadcast, while responding to a caller named Jacob from Nasarawa State, the defendant even told the people how to build an improvised bomb. He asked them to go to a filling station to get fuel in a bottle, put a rag in it, that then they should set the rag aflame and hot it at a soldier. You
cannot pronounce what you wrote. That is insulting to the country who call themselves Nigeria, you know. That is purely insulting. So, but in that regard, everything we are hearing here is that they said he told them and he didn't tell them. He told them and he didn't tell them. Someone is in the UK and he was telling them. Someone was in the UK and he was telling them, and they are doing it. Do you know what that simply means? Do you know what that simply means? That simply means that Nigeria people are disgruntled, because these people he was telling, they are not in the bushes with gun and bullet. These are normal people that are disgruntled, and he was telling them, if they were not disgruntled, if they are not feeling the same way that he was feeling, if they were not, trying to protect or defend themselves, there is no way they will carry out instruction given to them by unseen person. If at all he gave the instruction, or if at all they were carrying out the instruction, because there is no comprehensive evidence or material evidence that will tell you or make us to give this judgment in a way that he said it and they did it. How would you know and attribute what he said to what they did when he's in the United Kingdom or in London or maybe somewhere else? How can you just now bring the two together? You see, when Simon Ekpa was messing up all over the place, Finland government noticed that Simon Ekpa is crossing the line. What they did, they sent a delegation to go to Nigeria, to go to Biafra land, to gather information. Which delegation went to where that broadcast was allegedly done, to ascertain that this broadcast was made here? Is there any material evidence that suggests there was a delegation to go and confirm that this broadcast was made here and the signal was connected to a particular tower where this broadcast was made? Is there any data that actually compose that? No, there is no data that actually brings that information out. It is just about speculation. How do you tag what someone said in United Kingdom with the activities of someone who is being shot by the police and they are finding a way, possible means to defend themselves? Right to life was activated. The survival mode was activated in every Nigerians that night that police started shooting at peaceful protesters. So you cannot tell me or attribute with, to that of that action to what Nnamdi Kanu was allegedly saying on his own. Did they call them on the phone? Did Nnamdi Kanu call them on the phone? No. He never took a phone and call or dial anyone to tell them do what they need to do. Even if someone called him, he gave them advice. based on their life is in danger. Of course, their life was in danger. Military people and police were shooting sporadically at them. I can give the same advice to my loved ones. If you see that they are coming, make this, make that, so that you will defend yourself, because your right to life is embedded in Nigeria 1999 Constitution, and your right to self-defense is embedded in Nigeria Constitution. So what is wrong with me advising someone whose life is in danger what to do? Do you think that Nigeria army or Nigeria president has the right to shoot at protesters who are not having arm or bearing any weapon, peaceful protesters? What do you think that is going to happen in that regard? Or was this case argued in the law court, or does it mean that there was no lawyer that was able to stand to actually challenge these things? Because they are valid points. You cannot say I said and someone did. You cannot say I said on the basis of someone whose life is in danger. How do I protect myself from these people? They are unaliving us. And I give you advice on how to protect yourself. It's because I love you. That's why I gave you advice. Right? Get them before they get you. You must stay alive. It is your right. Is that a crime? No, it is not. So if that is a crime, everyone is a criminal, right? Even advising, somebody how to, do their personal things in their family is also a crime, because he was advising people on how to stay alive, and your evil military was out there for blood, and we saw that in front of the camera. We saw that. No Nigeria would deny that. We're not talking about the victim of Lekki Tollgate massacre. We are talking about the victim of those who massacred them. We are talking about them standing to live, as it's embedded in Nigeria Constitution, right to life and right to self-defense. We are not talking about the ones who fell in the hands of illegal Nigeria Boko Haram, jihad army that shot sporadically at them. We are talking about what Nnamdi Kanu said. What a judge, what a justice system. When we say Nigeria has no justice system, it will look as if we are insulting and we are not patriotic. You as an individual, look deep down yourself and just weigh in the judgment that was read. From the way it was actually being read, you will know that this judgment does not come from Nigeria. It is a Google judgment. Believe you me, it is a Google judgment. That judgment is supposed to be delivered in a case in United States, not in Nigeria, because they hardly used Nigeria law or use case law in Nigeria. For conviction of an individual, if you want to make reference of case law, make reference of case law that is happening in your country. You can't be making reference to a case law that happened in the US. US law and Nigeria law is not the same. That's what they did. Because they want to deprive a child of their father, want to deprive people of their leader. They named IPOB a terrorist, but no country in the world named IPOB a terrorist. Only Nigeria. But Nigeria is named a country of particular concern. Miyetti Allah is basically designated as terrorist. They are the rulers of Nigeria. We ain't saying nothing. Now this is what we are actually singing now is blues, because we are going to sing reggae. We are going to sing reggae without anybody being indicted. Nigeria is a failed state, and Nigeria need to end for life of people to be saved. A referendum is the only thing that will help you as a Nigerian escape the jihad that is coming your way, because these people believe that, many of you believe that jihad is averted. Jihad is not averted. It was just stalled. It was just delayed. It is coming. You see it happening in the northern Nigeria. You believe, no, it's northern Nigeria. They're married to Fulani. They in bed with Fulani. No, it's not only there. It is coming. By the time Muslim ticket will rotate the office, by the time it will rotate the office, APC is dishing out money to governors so that they will help them rig election 2027. Why do you think they don't care about their campaign or what will help them come 2027, which is barely 2 years, 1 year plus time to come, or 2 years to come? Yes. It's not up to 2 years, it's 1 year plus. So they are buying governors with billions of dollars. Our money. It's not their money. It's our money. Our shareholding. Our shares. They put them together. Use it to buy vote. The same way they bought Wike. The same way they have bought Enugu State governor. Soon you will start, maybe jihad in Enugu State will start. That's why when I say people should rise up, it doesn't mean that I am inciting violence. I wouldn't want to watch my loved ones fall in the hands of sinful people who see them as infidel. You are quoting that Nnamdi Kanu call this terrorist infidel, but terrorists see everybody in Nigeria as infidel, and their Quran says it. Quran chapter 9 verse 5, Quran 2 verse 190. It tells you to unalive them to submission, or to, except if you impose tax, if they fail to pay it, you unalive them too, except if they repent and become Islam. That is in Quran. We are not the ones who are pushing ideology that is so extremist. We are pushing for referendum. You provoke and frustrated us by having, killing people in Mpo, killing people all over the place. People are protesting with flag. You sporadically shoot at them, hide their body. Even Peter Obi did so. So why do you think that we are not going to lose our minds in the wake of being in a defense mode? Asaredo Kubo is a non-state actor. Asaredo Kubo came to Imo State to defend the gas that is going to be transported, to be taken to Europe. The gas that is taken to Europe, Asaredo Kubo deployed criminals in the military uniform. He's non-state actor. He unalived many Igbo young people. Ebubagu was created. He unalived, young and vibrant, innocent people. No one is held to account. Why do you think I cannot lose it as a human being? Why? No one holds the monopoly of violence, not even the government. If you feel that you only use government violence to bring people to submission, people will eventually change their strategy and give you back to back the same thing, energy that you actually give to them. Nnamdi Kanu was never a violent person. He demanded what is supposed to be his constitutional right. Build Iguacha Seaport, build Second Niger Bridge, build Onitsha, build Seaport, dredge Onitsha River Niger, bring international airport, build pipe-borne water and sewage system. Is that too much to ask from a country that, from a place where all the natural resources that is sustaining the country is coming from? Is that too much to ask? No, it's not. Who doesn't want to live in a pipe-borne water system where you will open your tap, you will be drinking a clean water, potable water? Who doesn't want to live in a sewage system where all your these things are going to a particular place where it is recycled, instead of you digging the ground, digging borehole in the things? Who doesn't know about good things? Or because you haven't tested it, that's why you think it is not within your right. It is within your right 100% to have a potable water coming out from your tap. It is the government that's supposed to build sewage system. So whenever you are building house, town planners are going to now guide you on how to connect your sewage. That's why you have town planners. Do you have them in Nigeria? No. That's why the government is moving ahead, demolishing property that belongs to ordinary people. And ordinary people bought with their money, because there is no town planner. There is no plan that is presented within the government gazette that prevent people from building infrastructure. Because of course, if Nigeria is going to be okay today, many houses are going to be demolished, yes, but now the government are going to compensate everybody for their houses or properties to be demolished, because government complicity or government incompetency for them to bring a proper town planning, create a proper town planning, is the reason why people sold houses, sold land. You see the wall of this person is on the road, the other one is at the back, when the walls are supposed to be on the same line, and the road is mapped, driveway is mapped, we don't see that. That is because of the inability of government to regulate things. We see irregularities in many things, such as pricing of goods and services, minimum wage. So all that, it is just on paper. It is not enforceable. So in this regard, how do you think people will not eventually get frustrated? People are crossing Mediterranean Sea to run to Europe. The same idiots who cross Mediterranean Sea to run to Europe will be the same people who will be saying, yeah, jail him. Idiots, they cross Mediterranean Sea to run to Europe, running away from their patriotic Nigeria, where their patriotism lies. Some of them are in the United States, bearing citizen of the United States, but they are telling us how bad the United States is. That is how evil the system has made you. That is how bad the system has made you. The Christian genocide that is happening in Nigeria, Christians need our voice. Christians need our voice, and our voice must prevail. We need help to curb the menace of the attack on Christians, because Christians are really targeted in Nigeria. Now, let me tell you, all you governors in Biafra land, your wish has been seen to by omotosho, the judge who could not read his written judgment. He's granted you your wish. Congratulations. But bear it in mind that one day it will be their turn. You people are not going to escape the wrath of the people. You are not going to escape the wrath of the Creator. It will always be on you. Somalia will be better than Nigeria. It was not a threat. It was a prophecy. But you saw it to be a threat. That's why that thing you saw as a threat, is going to now come back to haunt you. So many of you are already picturing Somalia in Nigeria prior to the time America issued warning of coming into Nigeria to stop terrorism, right? You have already started picturing it. Is America Nnamdi Kanu? No, America is America. Nnamdi Kanu is in DSS dungeon, right? So who is going to make Somalia to be like Nigeria, or Nigeria to be like Somalia? The God that Nnamdi Kanu worships, the God that he prays to, the God who made him say it to you so that you will wake up. The same way, the time when Noah was building the ark, people never took Noah seriously. Immediately when the ark was done building, the rain started. Noah, before people was able to recognize that Noah was serious with what he was saying, the ark was already departed and people are already being flooded. Ignorant, because you believe you are in power, your children are secured. Just within a second, you take a private jet. You will just take a private jet and fly to the next safety place, and then everything is all right. That's crazy. That's not how it works. Karma is not karma doesn't miss. It does not miss its target. Karma is going to meet all of you criminal politicians in Nigeria. They are going to use everybody when they wake up. When they wake up. The atlas that NASA is actually witnessing in the sky. You know, when we look at that, because of science, most of science does not believe in higher power, right? They don't know that people, those are, dimensions, hidden dimensions that gets people to awaken, that triggers your pineal gland to wake up and think, and not think like a captive person. You think like a free person, and you begin to question, what is it that Nigeria is doing? Maybe it will trigger what happened in Philippines. Take it onto yourself. Death is an illusion. When people are so scared of death, death is just you, going into another realm. It's a loop. We are so scared of death. You want to go to heaven, but you don't want to die. That's why Boko Haram is winning them in the bush. Because Boko Haram, they are not scared of death. You are scared that if you say to Tinubu that he is robbing the nation, he will sentence you to 20 years. He will only be there for 4 years. If he rig himself into office, he will be there for another 8 years. That's one thing people does not know. A new president, a new law, and a new policies. So one thing you guys does not know is that nothing lasts forever. Biafra will rise, and the people of Nigeria will rise out of their captivity. Their minds are captured, being lied to by all these so-called influencers, influencing them negatively because of inequality. Because of inequality in Nigeria, you have seen so many things going wrong. Some of the things that we cannot interfere with because we are not regular bloggers. There are many things that are going wrong in Nigeria that you just see because of inequality. People use their political office to intimidate other people, abuse people, and you just look at it and let it slide. That is the reason why the government will never want you to wake up. That's why they have to now tell you, jailing Nnamdi Kanu 25 years imprisonment to make you scared. You ain't gonna make anybody scared. You are basically making people stronger. If giving Nnamdi Kanu 25 years isn't going to stop the awakening is already happening. You cannot stop it. You're going to make them radicalize them. But all of you who are evil in Nigeria, run. Run. Because the time of judgment is at hand. We're not going to say too much. Chukwuoke Kabiama is going to fight that battle. And you will realize that when Nnamdi Kanu said Somalia will be better than Nigeria, it was not a threat. It was not a threat. It was a prophecy. Okay. One idiot on YouTube said, Mr. Tell me what the Igbo youth will ever benefit from your broadcast. Your packaging is nonsense. Dude, whatever you want to benefit from it, you benefit from it. If you don't want, leave it behind. He is a detractor, Fulani terrorist. They just believe that they have shut us up. You have woken, in fact, you have woken us. We are going to open eyes to every corner of Nigeria. We are going to expose all your evil activities without being feared or favored. Somalia will be better than Nigeria. It was not a threat. It was a prophecy. And that prophecy is going to fulfill. It was a prophecy. I know you guys are Muslim. Jihad. You don't believe in those things, in those kind of things. Of course, you guys know. You don't need to believe because you know that that is what you are wishing Nigeria. That's exactly what you are wishing Nigeria, right? I don't know why these guys are so stupid. Coming into my space to call me I am a fool. Papalos, is it Palolox Blocks or what? Fulani, terrorist is on my page. Fulani terrorist, telling me a lot of bullshit. That's because they are captured by the system. I'm not even mad at him. I'm just mad at the system that captured his mind. That's the only thing I'm mad at. I am not mad at him. I am not your leaders who, when you speak, they become mad at you. Because they are not a true leader. They are not. And the struggle that Nnamdi Kanu started, even though this is not the final judgment, we're going to appeal court. If appeal court does not work, we'll go to Supreme Court. It is going to work. One day we're going to meet in ICC. The day we make alliance with a great nation who is not looking for the interest, but the interest of the people and the people's life that are being killed in Nigeria. The day we will go to ICC is the day we will form a good alliance. We will take all these people to ICC, including omotosho. That's the place where they are going to tell us whether or not a terrorist have right to be integrated, while people, because of what they said with their mouth in a jurisdiction outside of yours, you gave him 60, life imprisonment, even threatened you're supposed to sentence him to death. But terrorists who kill soldiers, state actors, who are making your country of particular concern, killing Christians, committing genocide. They are being given olive branch, treated like babies. Hey, do you need Vaseline? Do you need $1 billion? What do you need so that you bring your weapon down? Do you need presidency? You ain't treating them like criminals, radical terrorists, but people who use their platform to broadcast, to help people, to give people hope. Do you know why people follow Nnamdi Kanu so much? The suffering was too much that they need someone to give them hope, and he gave them that hope. They need someone to tell them that they are not alone in this. And they were told that they were not alone. Eventually they woke up because they are disgruntled. No one to talk to, no one to come for their aid. They feel like they are alone. My dad died in Nigeria as a result of stupid medical facilities in Nigeria. He wasn't old. He died. The same way many people are dying in Nigeria. It is the duty of the government to give you medical infrastructure, medical care adequate. It is not the duty of the government to travel abroad to seek for medical care while you are dying in the one they abandoned. What makes you think they are more special than you? They can only be special if they are giving you everything that is mandated to give you. They will be very special. But as long as they are corrupt in the position they found themselves, they are not special. They are criminals and must be told that they are criminals without any iota of fear, because they are criminals. And criminals belong in dungeon, not innocent people who are disgruntled and speak out of frustration. It is the people who make them disgruntled that deserve to be in dungeon. That's why we are looking for Biafra, because we want to build a nation where people are going to be held accountable. Any government, any state actor that misbehave, loot, steal, they will face the music. They will be killed by hanging, because that is terrorism. Because that is terrorism. Their misbehavior with state funds is ruining the life of somebody. That is act of terrorism. Every leader you have had in Nigeria, they have committed treasonable felony and terrorism. We undermine them because we don't check. We don't follow what they are doing. They do as they please. But we say no more. It is time for wake up from your slumber. Let's face this demon. The demon that makes you run away through Mediterranean Sea to go to abroad. Those are the same demon convicting Nnamdi Kanu today. And we say enough is enough. We cannot fold our arms and continue watch our prophet perish, because Nnamdi Kanu committed no crime. There is no law in Nigeria that is attributed to the crime Nnamdi Kanu, they claim Nnamdi Kanu committed. Therefore, they are using United States law through Chatgpt. We will go to appeal court. We're still waiting for appeal court, judgment. When appeal court deliver their judgment, we will still hear. This is a lower court. Appeal court can overturn the lower court. Maybe government will now take it to Supreme Court again. Supreme Court can still overturn it. But we need to stand in solidarity with Nnamdi Kanu, no going back. No fear. No fear. We must be free in Nigeria. It's either they give us Biafra or they organize a referendum that people may decide whether or not they want to be one Nigeria. That's the way it is. I rest my case.